PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here in the sports entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rickelli. And game one of the 2023 Stanley Cup playoffs here between the Vegas Golden Knights and Winnipeg Jets have come to a close. And unfortunately for Vegas Golden Knights fans all around the world, it was a 5-1 loss for the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, I'm just going to give you a brief recap just to start out, and then I'll do a little bit of analysis on what I noticed about the game. So, in this game between the Winnipeg Jets and the Vegas Golden Knights, we got to start out with not only the first period, but really what really started this game, and that was the momentum. I hate to really bring this up, but when it came to the Winnipeg Jets and the Vegas Golden Knights, the reason the 5-1 deficit, it really started out in the first period. Because yes, even though no goals were scored in the first period, the tone was really set with the Vegas Golden Knights having two penalties in the first period. There was a Shea Theodore hooking penalty against Adam Lowry, and then there was a slashing penalty with Zach Whitecloud against Vladislav. So you had that in the first period. So it was an unfortunate start for the Vegas Golden Knights to have two penalties back-to-back in the first period. So it was enough 0-0 game. And then the Winnipeg Jets had two goals essentially back-to-back within 90 seconds of each other. Kyle Connor, a guy I mentioned as a player to watch from the Winnipeg Jets, scored the first goal of this postseason series with help from Pierre-Luc Dubois and Josh Morrissey. And yes, it was a good goal. There was nothing weird about it. It was a professional NHL goal from anything of it. And then about 90 seconds later, Pierre-Luc Dubois, he went from having an assist to having a goal. He was helped by Blake Wheeler. So it was a 2-0 game for a little bit, about 10 or 15 minutes, the Golden Knights being down by 2. And then William Karlsson, Wild Bill, had his first postseason goal of this playoff. He put it right around Connor Hellebuyck to make it a 2-1 game. And you had Jonathan Marchessault and Ivan Barbashev with the assist on the game. However, the penalties was something that was interesting as well. The Vegas Golden Knights had two penalties in the first period. The Winnipeg Jets had two penalties in the second period, so they kind of offset each other. Mark Scheifele, he had a cross-checking penalty against Phil Kessel. And then something interesting happened at the end of the second period. There was a scrum between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets. The clock hit all zeros, and there was some pushing and shoving between both teams. And I like the intensity I saw between Winnipeg and Vegas. If I have to give credit to anything, it was the fact that you saw a lot of hitting from the Vegas Golden Knights. In fact, 65 hits in the game for the Vegas Golden Knights, 51 hits from the Winnipeg Jets. Now, the third period is where a lot of things start to go downhill. Now, there was a too many men penalty served by Vladislav Nemcikov from Winnipeg. That was an opportunity for the Vegas Golden Knights, and unfortunately, they did not capitalize on it. The Vegas Golden Knights did not score any goals in the third period outside of that William Karlsson goal in the second. But the Winnipeg Jets extended their lead. Blake Wheeler with his first goal of the postseason. And Nino Niederreiter, the guy they acquired at the trade deadline, and former Golden Knight Nate Schmidt was with the assist. Now, there was the misconduct penalty between Nick Hague and Saku Menarinen. And then Keegan Kolesar had a boarding penalty against David Gustafsson. And that penalty there was kind of just a little bit of the icing of the cake. That was the, kind of final minute and a half of the game, because Adam Lowry didn't have just a power play goal. He had an empty net as well. So Adam Lowry having a 2-goal performance. Nino Niederreiter having 2 assists, Blake Wheeler having 2 assists. So the Winnipeg Jets got it done by beating the Vegas Golden Knights 5-1 at T-Mobile Arena. And really the statistics that I want to point out here from the stats page, yes, the Vegas Golden Knights had a lot more hits than the Winnipeg Jets. They also had 29 faceoffs won compared to 25 faceoffs won for the Winnipeg Jets. But the one category that the Vegas Golden Knights lacked, whereas Winnipeg took advantage of it, was the amount of shots taken. The Vegas Golden Knights only put up 17 shots against Connor Hellebuyck. I mean, this is a team that honestly should have done a lot more. I mean, Connor Hellebuyck is one of the best goalies in the NHL, and they only put 17 shots on net, whereas the Winnipeg Jets put nearly double amount on Laurent Brisebois. It really surprises me the Vegas Golden Knights did not shoot as much as they did, as I expected. I also want to point out that the power play opportunities were the same. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets had the same number of power play opportunities. The Winnipeg Jets had a power play goal. Vegas Golden Knights did not. They had the same amount of penalty minutes too. So it wasn't like it was a lopsided affair between Winnipeg and Vegas. As a matter of fact, I talked to several people who are Vegas Golden Knights fans and people who are watching the game with me, and they mentioned that Vegas did not play bad. As a matter of fact, the Vegas Golden Knights did not look terrible in this game. The problem was they just weren't putting shots on net. You know, the goaltending, Laurent Brisebois, I don't blame him for what happened. Brisebois, it was not his fault that, you know, the Winnipeg Jets had nearly double the amount of shots that the Vegas Golden Knights did. As a matter of fact, the blocked shots were nearly the same as well. The giveaways were around the same as well. So this Golden Knights and Winnipeg Jets game, unfortunately, you have to really talk about and break down the fact that the Winnipeg Jets shot double the Vegas Golden Knights did. The intensity of the Winnipeg Jets, it looked like it was on display in game 1. The Vegas Golden Knights also didn't have the speed that Winnipeg did. The one takeaway I also noticed was that the Winnipeg Jets, they looked like they were skating past the ice a lot quicker than Vegas was. The Winnipeg Jets had also more of this, you know, hey, we got to be quick. We got to get down here right now kind of attitude. Whereas the Vegas Golden Knights, unfortunately, it just really felt like they never had that, you know, fifth gear. You know, like the Vegas Golden Knights, it really seemed like they never put it in the hypodrive in this game. So, you know, this is a game 1. You know, it's a 7-game series if you force a game 7. But it's a very disappointing game 1. I mean, I think Vegas Golden Knights fans, and I could say this as somebody who is a Vegas Golden Knights fan, you probably expected a lot more from your Vegas Golden Knights in game 1. You probably expected more than 1 goal in this postseason game. You probably expected more than 17 shots on net for a team that was so explosive on offense. You probably were expecting more from the top 6 all night. And I could say this, that when it came to Chandler Stevenson and Mark Stone, it's not like they didn't put in an effort. I'm not going to say that at all. But if you look at just the shots in this game, Riley Smith led the team with 5 shots on net. Mark Stone did not have a single shot on goal in this game. Chandler Stevenson did not have a single shot on net in this game. Jonathan Marchessault did not have a single shot on net in this game. I also want to point out that guys like Shea Theodore and people like Alec Martinez, 1 shot on net. That's very unusual for the type of defense that we play here in Vegas. I also want to mention the fact that Alex Pietrangelo, the guy that has been arguably one of the most impactful defensemen all year, had 0 shots on net as well. So this is a weird situation where I have to look at it and go, all right, so 4 or 5 of your best scorers had 0 shots on net, which means they didn't have the puck in their possession as much as they needed to be. And the only positive I can really look at it is the fact that the Vegas Golden Knights have a game to play 2 days from now. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets are going to play again on Thursday night at T-Mobile Arena, and hopefully the Vegas Golden Knights can turn it around against Winnipeg. Hopefully the Vegas Golden Knights will be able to overcome the Winnipeg Jets and will be able to have more shots on net in Game 2. Now, Adin Hill, Logan Thompson, Jonathan Quick, Laurent Brossoit, yeah, there were some concerns about goaltending when the playoffs started. And once again, I'm not putting most of the blame on Brossoit. I'm not going to put all the blame on the goaltending for letting up 4 goals. As a matter of fact, a lot of the defense had a lot to do with it. But what I will say is that I won't be surprised if it is a one-off situation with the Vegas Golden Knights. Because they have 4 goaltenders at their disposal, I will not be shocked here on Vegas Hockey Hub if in Game 2 we have a different goalie in net, not named Laurent Brossoit. Adin Hill and Jonathan Quick are guys who could be in net on Thursday night. So, that's just kind of an idea I'm going to present to you, is the fact that the Vegas Golden Knights, I will not be surprised if Laurent Brossoit is on the bench watching Game 2 as somebody like Adin Hill or someone like Jonathan Quick is in net for Vegas. Now, since I'm talking about Vegas, I just want to very quickly talk about the Winnipeg Jets, because Kyle Connor had 5 shots on net. He had 1 goal on the night, but there was one player who definitely caught my attention, and that was Mark Scheifele. Not only was he a distraction and did he cause a lot of things to happen for the Winnipeg Jets, but this is a guy that, despite scoring 0 points in this game, had a +1, 4 shots on net, and was frequently in front of the net. He was definitely making some very good interruptions for Laurent Brossoit and causing some stuff to happen for the Winnipeg Jets. I've been watching hockey long enough to know that sometimes the best players are the ones who can cause the most distractions. Sometimes the best hockey players are the ones that can make things happen without them even having a puck on their stick. Mark Scheifele was an impact player for Winnipeg, and the Vegas Golden Knights saw that. Kyle Connor was an impact player, and Vegas saw that. So hopefully for the Vegas Golden Knights, they can do a lot better in Game 2. And for the series' sake, I hope they tie it up in Game 2. Because if you get down in the hole and you're down 0-2, I just don't know how Vegas will overcome a 0-2 deficit. So, you got to get prepared for Game 2. You got to be able to get ready and anticipate what's going to happen next. But for Vegas Golden Knights fans' sake, Game 2 has to perform a lot better than Game 1. And I will say to all the Vegas Golden Knights fans out there, it's one game in the playoffs. It's not going to set up the entire playoff scenario, but there was a lot we could learn from Game 1. So, as we are talking about the Vegas Golden Knights here on Vegas Hockey Hub, here in the sports entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rickelli. I just want to say to everyone watching around the world, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on notification bell so you not miss any content here on Vegas Hockey Hub. Go to PR Connections Radio on YouTube, Facebook, or any social media site that we are on. And don't forget to like and follow all the content that's on here, because I'm not just the only one on the network. We have Brian Gardner with We Have the Power. You got Cozy Stone. You have the Professionals podcast, The Love of Business, Crypto and Cash. You have Aunt Shirley as well, who, by the way, is incredible, awesome. I want to give a shout out to Dana, by the way, for engineering a lot of the shows, and for Guy Dawson for helping PR Connections Radio be what it is now. So back to the Vegas Golden Knights. What changes need to be made heading into game 2? We spent the first 15 minutes talking about game 1, talking about what has happened. Well, let's speculate what they need to do to fix their situation moving forward heading into game 2. Now, the first part I would say is shoot the puck, shoot it, and shoot it. If you're the Vegas Golden Knights, you cannot repeat game 1. Vegas Golden Knights cannot just do 17 shots on net and expect to win again. The Vegas Golden Knights, if you don't have any more than 25 shots in game 2, then you are going to lose in game 2. This is a Vegas Golden Knights team that has plenty of scores and a lot of people who can shoot the puck in Vegas. I expect them to take advantage of that and try to put the puck in the back of the net. So the one part they really need to focus on is shooting the puck and doing it more often. You have Marchessault, you have Stevenson, you have Eichel. There is all these players you can use. I highly recommend doing so. And the second part I would recommend is have your defense help protect the goalie. All right, have your defense lay back and kind of take pressure off of Hill. Take pressure off of Quick. Take pressure off of Brisebois. This is a Vegas Golden Knights team that I highly expect to lay back and even have some forwards like Phil Kessel or Jack Eichel or somebody like that to lay back and protect the goalie. I didn't see much of that in game 1. I really did not see what the Vegas Golden Knights should have done, which was to protect Brisebois and take pressure off of him. And the last part that I expect is some lineup changes. Now, you had Chandler Stevenson, you had Michael Amadio, and you had Mark Stone on the third line. You had Barbashev, Marchessault, and Eichel on the first line. And then you had the second line of Smith, Kessel, and Carlson. And as much as I would love to say that they're going to keep that going and they're going to make it the same in game 2, I will not be surprised if there is some movement around. Now, keep in mind, Mark Stone is a natural first-line winger. Jonathan Marchessault could be bumped down to the second line and have Mark Stone be on the first line if Bruce Cassidy feels that he's ready. Michael Amadio being replaced by somebody like Paul Cotter or Pavel Dorofeev is a possibility because Cotter and Dorofeev can bring some energy, can bring some speed to the Vegas Golden Knights, which is something that was lacking in game 1. They didn't have the same intensity and quickness that the Winnipeg Jets had. And also on that last line, you had Kolazar, you had Bois, but it just really felt like something was missing on that last line. Now, if William Carrier is back to full strength, he'll be there. Bluger is somebody who could add some defense and some physicality to that line. But it'll just be curious to see if the Vegas Golden Knights change some stuff up in game 2. And I highly expect it to be. Because Bruce Cassidy isn't just going to roll out the same lineup in game 2 and act like nothing changed. You lose a game 1 by 4 goals. You're not going to, you normally aren't going to use the same lineup the next night. So that's really my 3 observations moving forward for the Vegas Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets. It's the fact that the Winnipeg Jets and the Vegas Golden Knights, one, I expect a change in goaltending for game 2. The second part is the speed and the intensity of the Vegas Golden Knights. I expect them to be a lot quicker and to bring a lot more toughness and physicality to game 2. And lastly, you got to shoot it, and shoot it. Because you have less than 20 shots in a game, in a playoff series nonetheless, you are not going to win. So that is my takeaway of the Vegas Golden Knights Winnipeg Jets series in game one, our game one recap here on Vegas Hockey Hub. I'm your host, Ian Rickelli, and we're going to be doing this every single game here in the first round. So we'll do a preview half an hour before the game takes off, and we'll do a recap half an hour after the game ends here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. This is Vegas Hockey Hub. I'm your host, Ian Rickelli. And until next time, I am your host, and have a good one. So there is one more thing I do want to mention when it comes to the Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets. Their game one recap. So I will say the passing needs to be worked on as well. Now, as I was thinking about this and going through my notes, I'm going to say that the passing was very sloppy at times. I'm not going to point towards a certain player, but there was times where you would have, for example, maybe somebody like a Jack Eichel and a Barbashev, and there would be some sloppy redirects that would cause a takeaway going the other way. Or maybe there would be a time where Michael Amadio would try to dish it to, Mark Stone or Chandler Stevenson, and it would go the other way. It would be a very unfortunate takeaway for the Vegas Golden Knights. It's just a situation where I think the takeaways and the passing really needs to be worked as well. And I mentioned earlier that the intensity of the Winnipeg Jets is something that really needs to be focused on, because it really felt like watching this game that the Winnipeg Jets wanted it more than the Vegas Golden Knights did. It really felt like in game one that you had Scheifele, Dubois, you had these guys, and they were rushing down the ice. They were using all 90 feet of the rink, and they were using it to their advantage. It was just a situation where, unfortunately, I sit here and I look at the Vegas Golden Knights and go, you need to work on the sloppy passing. not cause as many takeaways and not make as many opportunities for the opposing team. You also need to work on the speed. All right, you need to get quicker. Now, I don't know if that involves replacing some veterans and having some young guys be on the bottom six, but it just looks like they're not as fast as Winnipeg was. Also, the shot selection. This is a Vegas Golden Knights team that's known for putting the puck in the back of the net and only 17 shots, and a lot of those shots didn't even look like good shot selections. It really looked like a half of them were forced by the Vegas Golden Knights. So this is a Game 1 recap. Unfortunately, I have to say here as a Vegas Golden Knights fan that here on Vegas Hockey Hub, here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media, very sloppy play in Game 1. It's very hard to come up with positives when you do a game recap like this. When you lose a game 5-1, it's incredibly difficult to try to find positives about the Vegas Golden Knights, except for the fact that they have the most passionate fan base in hockey. How the intensity and the electricity at T-Mobile Arena is second to none. It's near unmatched. The pregame entertainment was stellar. Okay, they always find a way to do that here in Vegas. But outside of that, the on ice, there really isn't much positive I can say about the Vegas Golden Knights. It really felt sloppy on that end. So, I just wanted to include that one last part here on Vegas Hockey Hub on PRConnectionRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rickelli. And I just wanted to give you this Game 1 recap of the Winnipeg Jets and Vegas Golden Knights. Of course, the Winnipeg Jets won 5-1 at T-Mobile Arena in Game 1 of the Western Conference playoffs here in the NHL. So, hopefully Game 2 on 20th of April will be a lot better for the Vegas Golden Knights. I am hoping that the Vegas Golden Knights will come back swinging in Game 2 at the Fortress, the Armory, that the T-Mobile Arena will be not one of, but the most electrified and the most intense place to play hockey. And hopefully the Vegas Golden Knights can have more than 20 shots on net, and they can actually have better shot selection they did in Game 1. So just very quickly wanted to do a Game 1 recap here on Vegas Hockey Hub and just really kind of vent about the 4 mistakes I saw in this game. The sloppy passing, the lack of shot selection, them not defending their goalie, and the lack of speed. That was really my main takeaways in this game. It just really felt like for 60 minutes, the Winnipeg Jets were better for 40 of the 60 minutes. As a matter of fact, it felt like the first period, Winnipeg and Vegas were on par. But then the second period hit, and it just got away. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in Game 2. I will watch. You will watch. Everyone around the world will watch Game 2 at T-Mobile Arena. And, of course, here on PR Connections Radio on that day, we will do our preview show a half hour before the game. So I'll be at 6:30. And then we will do our recap show at 10 p.m., which will be that same night. So 8 a.m. will be our typical show. We'll do a preview show at 6:30 and then do a recap show at 10. So this is your host, Ian Rickelli. Follow me on social media at Ian Rickelli18. Follow the show at Vegas Hockey Hub and follow the network at PR Connections Radio. Until next time, continue supporting junior hockey and go Knights, go.